to look at one of the common questions that comes up when looking at personality type, which is, can people really be put into one of 16 different boxes? Well, here's how I like to think of that. There are 8 billion people on this planet, and so ultimately there are 8 billion individuals on this planet. Each of those people is unique. They come from different countries, they speak different languages, they've had different families. Virtually all of them are different genetically. Thing is, thinking about people in that way doesn't always help me if I'm trying to manage or motivate or lead them. If I'm trying to work out how to best put across a new idea, pitch a new project to somebody, remembering that they're one of 8 billion individuals doesn't necessarily help me think how best to do that. This is where personality type comes in. By grouping together some of those 8 billion people into like groups, then what we can do is start thinking of some shortcuts. So, were we to imagine doing that? If we took all of the people who are ISTJ and brought them together into one big group, well, there's about 15% of most populations are ISTJ, so we'd end up with about 1 billion people. So I'm not going to be hosting this party, but we can just imagine it. 1 billion people there together. Would they all be identical? Well, of course not, because they'd be from about 200 different countries. Just imagine the number of languages they speak. They've come from different cultures, subcultures. They had different families growing up, even those that were from the same family, where maybe they were the first child, maybe they were the middle child. We know that all of those ISTJs, those billion of them, would not be identical. And yet they would have a lot in common with one another. And that's what we're really looking at here. Not to find 16 groups of people who are all identical to one another, but to identify what people do have in common with others within their type, and how to make use of that. Isabel Briggs-Myers of Myers-Briggs Type Indicator fame had a nice quote, in which, I'll paraphrase slightly, she'd say that all ISTJs are like all other ISTJs, like some other ISTJs, and like no other ISTJs. So this is really important to bear in mind. Our type describes a lot about us. Were we to get our billion ISTJs together, you can be pretty sure they'd want that to be quite a well-organised party with some decent information up front about what's going to be happening and where it's going to be happening. And this is where we can make use of personality type. By understanding what these 16 different types are, we can use this information to inform us about what are some shortcuts for how best to understand the person in front of us. It's not saying that they'll be identical to all the other people with their personality type. And yet, it is going to help us to motivate them, to engage them, to get on board, to sell our thoughts, our ideas, our products and our services, to lead them, to be part of a team with them. And that is why it's useful to think about the 16 different personality types.